Yeah. Well, that's what I like. You know, you see guys that can touch the ground.
Yeah.
And I like that when the back tires are taller than the back of the car. And I've got another set of tires like this, and those are literally taller than this part back here.
Yeah.
But the other set won't
Because you got
balance.
the skinnies up here.
Yeah.
Those are the old-fashioned things.
Those are actually Denman straight lines. Do you remember that? That's probably way before your time, but before they made any kind of racing tire,
Yeah.
these Denman straight lines were the racing tire because they're kind of like a slick, but they got, you know, those little straight
There's just
lines
enough tread on them,
just so you can run them on
so you can say that they have tread.
in the rain and not slide off the road or something. Now, if you need to adjust your seat, they're very adjustable.
This puts you close to everything, doesn't it?
Sure does. You able to get that thing on?
Maybe if I turn it around the right direction. There, it's going to switch now. Why not? There, it's clicked in.
All right, I'm gonna put my shifter right about where your knee is.
All right. Let me rearrange my feet in the footwell. If you want to call it a footwell. So what, does this have a function or is it just there?
Yeah, when I used to go to car shows, a lot of people would want to sit in the car. When they'd get out, they'd grab the windshield.
And
So I put that there as a grab handle, but my wife uses that when she gets out. She knows to grab that and not grab the windshield.
yeah, this is a motorcycle with four wheels. I'm going to guess about 70% of the weight is in front of where my knee is.
I don't know, I failed math, so I wouldn't be able to give you percentages or anything. You know, I failed math all the way through school, and then after I was a truck driver and a social worker, I went to work at a bank. I was perfectly prepared.
Well, I was doing great in math until I ran into algebra. And that's when my dreams of being an engineer came to an end.
Yeah.
And journalism school looked good. I made it as far as pre-calculus. And that was it. No more. I like that straight axle, the little bit of lean you get when you go to full lock.
Yeah.
Boy, somebody 6 foot tall would eat a lot of bugs.
Eat a lot of bugs.
About a little bit taller than me, you'd be ingesting.
Well, that's why I didn't cut the windshield down. I thought, man, it looks funny, but it's good to have a windshield.
It is. It is. I used to ride dirt bikes. base helmet, you know,
Yeah.
goggles. I was riding somewhere one time and a bee went right into my helmet, right here in my temple. And you wouldn't believe how many times I got stung before I could stop and get that helmet off of my head.
Yeah.
I had never put that into my calculations.
Yeah. Well, it's not the kind of thing you set out to do, you know.
No.
Got another gear.
So what's the longest trip you've driven in this?
Maine to Georgia. No, I didn't drive it.
I was about to say.
I hauled it. I don't know. I went over to St. Louis town, Franklin Springs. They had a
Yeah.
state park the other day. They had a car show. I go up to Iowa whenever they have one.
Yeah, I was not a bad drive.
No, it's not bad. I always like the Elberton car show. This car is actually a pretty good. It's a good driving car. It's comfortable. I love the wind. It feels good.
Yeah.
I've driven it in the pouring rain before, and that was invigorating. I like
Raindrops feel different at about 50 miles an hour.
I like driving this thing. It's a fun
You
car.
know, it actually has a very solid feel to it.
Well, it's fun. It's way more fun to drive in that other car. And people give you the look when they see you in this thing. But usually the first thing they say is, "You drive that here? You drive that?"
Well, all they got to do is look at it. They can tell it gets driven. They can tell it gets driven. I mean, you can see what the headers look like. You can see dust in the filters. You know,
Yeah.
it's not a trailer queen.
Bugs on the windshield.
Yeah. The world's a lot different when you see it like this.
Yes, it is. You ever read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance?
It's been a long time since I read that.
Then you'll remember he talks about that, about how being on a motorcycle, you're not in a box where you're
Right.
isolated from the world. You're literally in a place where you can put your foot down and touch the ground, and the
And
whole
you're-
world, you're in it.
Yeah, you're in the world, not separated out from the world.
Yeah, that was one of the, he starts the book out talking about that quite a lot. About the
That's a
different-
pretty amazing book.
Yeah, it is.
I need to read that again. Probably a sermon series in that book somewhere.
Well, there's a sermon in just about everything.
There is. My friend Gene Phelps can find one in anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this car here, I found it buried in a snowbank in somebody's front yard. They moved off and left it. That's not a lot different than my life. My life was, a lot of people gave up on me, moved off and left me. I was sitting there until somebody found me and cared enough about me to dig me out of a snowbank, drag me home, and start giving me a little care.
So how much of it was there in the snowbank?
What? It's Maine, all of it. It was
Really? So frame and everything.
It was buried. It was buried in the snow. I knew it was there because I'd seen it. I used to drive to work every day, and I'd see it sitting in the yard with a for sale sign on it. And I looked at the price, and it was about twice what I wanted to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I kept watching it, and in the middle of the winter, after I noticed nobody was living there and it was still sitting there and it was a lump in the yard, then I started going around to all the neighbors. I said, y'all know how to reach the guy that owns that? This certain guy did. So I think I might have wrote him a letter. And I said, you know.
Yeah, back in those days.
I might have said something like, I can imagine what it's going to cost for you to haul this down to Virginia where you're living right now. And I said, I'll give you this much for it, and then you don't have to do a thing. I'll take it from there. He wrote me back and said,
Deal?
Deal. So that's how I got it.
Oh, that's great. So had this already been, like, work already been started on this, or was the truck part complete?
Him and his dad were race car drivers.
Ah, okay.
And they had a pile of parts out back, and this was built out of the pile of parts. And,
Okay.
he had done the frame, and he had this body on it. There was no windshield and nothing inside, and nothing under here but the ground, you know. And,
Right.
No, there was a
You didn't use these things to make the floor, did you?
no. It's got oak floors.
Really?
And I can open them. I can. There's 3 hinges there, and I can open that, and the batteries here.
Yeah.
And I can open this one, and my hydraulic brake thing and hydraulic clutch and everything are all under here.
Yep.
He had that Cadillac 331, and it tied to a Dynaflow transmission, which is in '53, the Hydromatic plant burned down. The Dynaflows were for the Oldsmobiles, but they put them in the Cadillacs for half a year that year, and that's what was in this one.
Right. Okay.
And I asked some guys on the ham. The ham is the hokey ass message board, and where all the hot rodders talk. And I asked some guys on the ham, and they said Dynaflow stands for mighty slow, or Dynaflow means mighty slow. But basically, it was a very early, old 2-speed automatic that would
Right.
get out of its own way and weighed about 1,000 pounds. But anyway, they said
It was a hydraulic nightmare on the inside.
Well, that's that's what I was getting to. Is I made a banjo out of a ring that came out of the torque converter down here in the shed. And I'm going to invite you to come down the
I'm going
shed,
to go down there and see
and
that.
I'll show you that. So tell the YouTubers, I'm probably going to cut the camera off now, but tell the YouTubers bye,
Bye-bye, YouTubers.
and we'll go.
It's been a
down
fun morning.
there. Yeah, we're having a ton of fun. So I think
You know, that is almost as low as the first Mazda Miata I rode in. And the Mazda Miata, the first time I rode in one of those, I did put my arm over the edge of the car. It did touch,
and touch the ground. Yeah. Well, I like them low.